Our Media Madness segment tonight, even Twitter's expanded 280 characters is not enough for President Trump. In the wee small hours of the morning, the president took to Twitter to slam LaVar Ball, the father of one of the UCLA basketball players who was arrested in China for shoplifting. President Trump helped free these three athletes from prison in China, but the father, LaVar Ball, says he won't thank Trump for what he did. And President Trump is hitting him hard for that and creating a media firestorm by doing it on Twitter. With me now to break it down, Dr. Tom Borelli. Dr. Borelli, good to see you.
Great to be with you again.
And happy Thanksgiving to you.
Same.
Dr. Borelli, let me ask you, first of all, this feud between LaVar Ball and President Trump, not exactly who the president usually chooses to have a disagreement with. What do you make of this?
Well, look, Mr. Ball is completely, given his Thanksgiving time, really is not thankful for anything. He could have been having a real miserable Thanksgiving with his son in some who knows what kind of prison in China. Instead, President Trump stepped in, got his son and two others out of, potential long-term jail time in China so that they can enjoy a great Thanksgiving. Mr. Ball clearly is ungrateful, has forgotten the meaning, if he ever knew the meaning of Thanksgiving, and really he's embarrassed the nation as much as his son has embarrassed the nation.
Right, even the son had the grace to thank the president after he was freed. I want to show these tweets on the screen. Like I said in the intro, it wasn't one, it was two tweets. President Trump says it wasn't the White House, it wasn't the State Department, it wasn't the father, LaVar's so-called people on the ground in China that got his son out of a long-term prison sentence. It was me. Too bad LaVar is just a poor man's version of Don King, but without the hair. Just think. That was the first tweet, and this is the second tweet. He says, just think, LaVar, you could have spent the next 5 to 10 years during Thanksgiving with your son in China, but no NBA contract to support you. But remember, LaVar, shoplifting is not a little thing. It's a really big deal, especially in China. Ungrateful fool. Dr. Borelli, that's pretty harsh.
Yes, it is. But again, I really think Mr. Ball really deserved that. And tragically, the media is spinning this obviously in the wrong way. Other networks are really saying that President Trump, by attacking Mr. Ball, is being a racist. Now, think about this. President Trump can't win. If he'd have let the three black players in China in prison, he would have been a racist. He does what he needs to do to get him out of prison. And guess what? He's a racist. President Trump can't win, and that's why he's firing back. And the vast majority of Americans understand this. Good, God-fearing Americans know what's right and what's wrong. Unfortunately, Mr. Ball doesn't.
No, and the thing is, I mean, when I saw these tweets, I think I had the same reaction as anyone else. You roll your eyes a little bit, you laugh a little bit, you wonder why President Trump is engaging in this kind of feud. But at the end of the day, if you actually parse what he's saying, in these tweets specifically, he's not wrong. He is right. It was him. It was his conversation with the Chinese president, which he took time away from talking about other world issues to free these three basketball players, which was the right thing to do. But you're absolutely correct. The point you made, Trump can't do anything right. According to the left, even when he frees three basketball players from Chinese prison, it's almost like the left has forgotten that under President Obama, Otto Warmbier in North Korea, who was arrested and detained for just about the same thing, maybe not even quite as serious of an offense because it was a poster versus high-end merchandise in China, he died. He was killed by the North Koreans. President Trump frees these people and no thanks.
No, President Trump is actually a very compassionate man, despite what the media says about him. And I'm sure that was in his mind, what happened to a poor student in North Korea. And let's also remember what a failed leader former President Obama was. How long did he let Andrew Tamarisi, the former Marine, rot in some Mexican prison that's just over our border here? I mean, that was clearly outrageous. And I don't remember the media screaming about President Obama.
No, you're absolutely right. Now, there are some on the left, too. This is especially on social media who are saying that President Trump tweeting like this, especially in the wee small hours of the morning, this is a distraction technique, they say, from his failures. And I think they're half correct here. It is a distraction technique, not from his failures. It's a distraction technique to aim the opposition away from what he's truly accomplishing. President Trump doesn't want the rabid liberal opposition to be looking at the strides he's making in tax reform, the judicial appointments that he's making, the regulations that he's been rolling back, everything that he's been accomplishing. He can accomplish better if the Democrats are focused on his tweets and not his agenda.
Well, absolutely. And let's face it, what the Democrats don't want to talk about is all the sexual harassment charges that are hitting Democrats and leading members of the left-wing media. So they certainly rather focus on President Trump's tweets.
Right. And then the final thing here is the culture wars. I think Republicans, particularly conservative Republicans, have been crying for a president for the past 2 decades to participate in the culture wars, not just to be ideologically right legislatively or with executive orders, but to actually wade into some of this nastiness and say, wait a second, the way that you're spinning this, the way that you're making the double standards that you have are wrong. And President Trump is doing that. It's a little messy looking. Sometimes it looks a little childish on Twitter, but that's what he's doing.
No, that's a great point, Liz, because how long have too many Republicans and all the Republican presidents I can remember, maybe except for former President Reagan, were afraid to take on the media.
Right.
And I think there are a lot of Americans that are just basically saying, thank God someone's going to take them head on.
Right, and that's what President Trump is doing, for better or for worse. Dr. Borelli, thanks for coming on the show, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, guys, we have to take a quick break, but right after that, our next tipping point is with Kevin Daly, a Supreme Court case nobody is talking about, one with very important implications on how government could take control of our property. This could be huge. All those details next. Stick with us.